Hi interwebs, it's Boyd. This is Paul. And this is Red Destiny Arts Will Allow It.
We will allow it.
So basically what we're going to do is me and Paul have written up a top 5 list of video game remakes we would like to see, limited to games from the 8 and 16-bit era.
And let it be known that this may not just be limited to this kind of remake. It could be in the future something about movies or TV shows or something like that. But
well, yeah, just for this particular
for this thing right here, we figured we'll go with the first two basic video game systems that we both grew up with.
Two most important ones to us.
I would agree. Yeah.
Well, I'll allow it. Yeah.
Hey, I'll allow that.
That's fine. So, you want to start?
Sure.
All right.
Okay. Made a list. I made a list.
We both made a list. We have our lists in hand.
Okay. What I would like to see remade. Okay, and this is I want it to be if not a 2D game, it could be a really good over-the-shoulder game with no guns, mind you. Double fucking Dragon.
Double Dragon.
We have seen so many over-the-shoulder remakes where it's just guns are the focal point. What if it were just fists? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if it were like a fast-paced, run through the alleyways or whatever, and it's semi-open world, where you kind of have to fight your way through the alleys or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And Billy and Jimmy, were, you could pick whoever you wanted to or play two-player, and it was just over the shoulder, but it was just fists. Like nobody had guns. It was kind of one of those things where, maybe they could make it about, Obama finally obtained Antichrist status and took everybody's guns away from them. And there were, gun control is now a real thing. So, yeah, that would be it.
Because that's your number 5.
That's my number 1 actually.
Oh, your number 1.
Well, rather. Okay, if we're going from least to greatest, yeah. Okay. Hey, man, will you allow it?
No, not in this game. Not for me.
Fuck.
Not for my list.
Okay.
I'm going from least from 5 to 1.
Okay.
And I think there should be a rule if we both wind up having the same thing on our list. Like we don't know.
I don't know. I've got mine hidden. It's totally.
If we have the same thing, we have to fight.
It's turned this way like my wiener.
I wish I didn't know that was true. My number 5, and bring on the hate comments, but a high budget, big scale remake of the original Legend of Zelda.
No, I'm good with that.
You're good with that?
It's perfect. Yes, it's a great game.
I don't think. Be careful, you kick the computer.
Sorry.
No, the ship we're in has been attacked by Romulans.
Okay, yeah.
So you just did it again.
No, I did it on purpose because of Romulans. But all right, so
it's the first game is perfect. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's bad. It needs to be remade, but I wouldn't mind one, a big scale one.
The cop that just drove by apparently really didn't like this idea. So no, I can see that.
You can see that?
Yeah.
Okay, right on.
It's a great game, but it is a first. You can tell it's a first attempt.
Now, if we did get this big budget remake, would you want traditional controls or Skyward Sword motion controls?
Ooh, Skyward Sword motion controls were an interesting thing. They worked for that game because the whole game was built around it.
Mm-hmm. But
I think there's a reason that every game before it, and hopefully the next game after, won't have it. It's good for Skyward Sword. It's not good to continue it.
Were you thinking, though, that I wanted one that was, like, still top-down, like, just upgraded graphics? Because I was talking, like...
I mean, like 3D.
3D, yeah.
I can see that. That's more what I would want.
Okay, now, secondary thing. Would you want an expounded upon story? Or would you want it to remain as simple as it was?
Well, okay, how about this? I'm a Dark Souls fan, and the story is sort of spoken about at first, and then there's this large chunk of the game where you're, exploring and doing your own thing. You're just kind of finding out what's going on.
Right.
And then at the end, or rather right before the end, the story is spelled out for you.
Mm-hmm.
How awesome would that be for Zelda if you're playing it and you're like, is this a prequel? Is this a sequel? Is this a remake? And then all of a sudden, they spill the story out to you, and then you realize, like, oh my god, this is a remake of the very first game. That would be amazing, I think. So I would say a little bit of both.
I was kind of thinking like they did in Metroid Prime 1, where like you got the story by scanning the stuff.
No, that's cool too. Yeah, just sort of
cool.
like, you look at it and it kind of focuses in, and
Mm-hmm.
I could see that.
Okay. All right. So what's your number 4? Or number 2?
Well, number 2 is a game called Run Saber.
Run Saber.
It is an SNES game.
I remember that one.
Well, you're more than welcome to look it up. It is kind of it's a 2-player lightsaber game, I guess you'd say. It's very simple, but it evokes memories of Contra, only less punishing. And so for somebody who wants to play Contra instead of with guns, more with swords or special moves and things like that, it's closer to that. You climb on the side of buildings, you move up like you did in Contra 3, the Alien Wars, and you have like area attacks like the big bombs and whatnot. I can't really say more than that without spoiling anything. I don't know if there's anything to spoil, but Run Saber is a game that was good but not great because of its limited technology, basically. Mm-hmm. And so it's a run and gun hack and slash game minus the guns. If anybody's never played it or never seen it, I recommend you at least giving it a shot because it's a fun game. It's a fun 2-player game. And it's, for lack of a better term, I wouldn't say an innovator, but it's able to ride the coattails of games that it borrowed from without feeling like a copy. So, there we go. Okay. Cool. Run Saber.
Okay. All right. Well, my number 4 was a game called Slime World.
Really?
For the Sega Genesis, yeah.
I remember this.
I got that.
I do remember this game.
I got Slime World like the Christmas after I got my Genesis, and it was not a very good game. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it was this interesting thing. But I always loved the concept of it, the Slime World. And I think doing like a big, doesn't even have to be a remake, honestly. They could just do a new game or sequel to whatever that game story was.
Yeah.
Guy crashes on the slime world and tries to escape. And his weapon was like a squirt gun, right? Like it was like a little,
it was like a yeah.
Like I could see like the remake, the guy's got like a super soaker basically, and you could upgrade it as you go along, like get like the flat, like something like big white area spray, or the pressure hose kinda. But like that, I think like just the world itself would be really interesting.
Yeah.
And, that's it. I guess it could kind of like it. The play mechanics could kind of be similar to the Ghostbusters game. The good one.
The old one or the newer one?
The good one that was released on PS3 and Xbox.
Nice.
360. Not those. They made a couple sense that were kind of bad, or so I heard. I never played them.
Yeah.
That one I thought was a lot of fun. I think that could probably we could play similar to that with the way the proton packs worked.
Word up.
All right. What's your number 3?
My number 3 was a hard choice, and I say that because I believe that any game that should be remade deserves to be remade. Let me clarify. That means that if a game, when it was made, wasn't at its peak, in other words, like the people who made it were wanting to do more and couldn't due to limitations of technology and so forth, kind of like they did with Final Fantasy VII, which again I don't really care for a remake for. I thought it was okay as it is, but I get why people want a remake for that. It's because it's really mismatched. There's a lot of parts of the game where it's 2D sprites, little nub arms, and then you've got like in-game or other in-battle graphics where they have full arms, and then there's other parts where it's full motion video. You see little Pixar fingers and so on and so forth. And it really is a hodgepodge of
animation.
Best animation and best efforts of animation. So a remake of that would be okay. I'm okay with it. I'm okay without it, but my remake choice would be Chrono Trigger. And the
What
reason
a
why...
fucking surprise.
No, it isn't. The reason why is because of the Dragon Quest games. And I didn't think that Chrono Trigger should ever be remade until I started finally playing the Dragon Quest games. And I saw that Akira Toriyama's art style and that sort of simple otherworldliness was effective. There was something about it that really did take me away in Dragon Quest VIII. I'd like to see Chrono Trigger remade. I don't know, as a top down or a top angle down or behind the back or anything like that. Regardless,
well, I don't think that matters too. Like, that's not an integral. That's not like Zelda, like the original Zelda.
it's not. It's not. But Chrono Trigger, like most people will say that the story, the time travel mechanics, and the music are the best things about it. And I think as long as those things are intact and you don't change anything about those, actually, except for just update them, like the music to be more pleasant sounding, the controls to be tighter, and so on and so forth, it'd be great. I would just like to see it ultimately gain the love that it deserves to a new crowd.
I mean, do you think it's not getting?
No, it's and again, it's just a personal thing. I mean, like I love it. Everybody who's played it, I know, has loved it. I'd like to see it gain more popularity, maybe, but it would be cool to experience this world.
Again. Oh, I'm gonna punch you in the face next time you do that.
It would be cool to see the entire world from a different angle. I mean, we're talking about time travel and even some sort of dimension travel. It'd be nice to see it from multiple angles. There was a lot that the game evoked in terms of imagination, and so I'd just like to see a fulfillment of that. That whole wishful thinking.
Would you add any more to it so that it kind of like left more ties to Chrono Cross?
They did that in the DS version.
Did they?
Yeah, they did. Where if you did certain things, you could fight the final version of Lavos plus Shala, and then Magus woke up with memory loss and stuff like that. I would include that, but probably as a new game plus playthrough sort of thing.
Fair enough.
So, yeah. Either way, that would be it.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Number 3, Sunset Riders.
Oh, why didn't I think of this? That's a great game, man. That's a really good game.
Yes. Oh man, I remember playing this one in Pizza Hut originally. Beg your parents for quarters.
Weird. I do remember that and the game Cabal being in one of the Pizza Huts around here. That's crazy.
Pizza Hut, and I remember when they finally announced it for Super Nintendo, I was just
yeah, it's close to a perfect port.
It's just about you can't do 4 players, obviously.
Oh,
I think there's a few other changes, but I remember when you get to the end of the first level, and the boss would always come out and say something. And the first boss was Bear. No, I'm sorry, not when the boss comes out, but when you defeat the boss, he says, "Bury me with my money." But because of the soundboard and the Super Nintendo and whatnot, it sounded more like "Marry me with my money."
Sure,
but marry me with my money.
If you're a gold digger, then sure, you would marry him.
But a big. Actually, this is one of the few. If we did a big remake of this, I would want it to be still 2D.
Yeah,
I think it works best.
Like a street, not a Street Fighter, but a street fighter kind of game, kind of sort of like the original, Final Fight. Yeah, Sunset Riders was a good take on that whole genre. I like it a lot. Cool, man.
All right, what's your next one?
Number 4 is Terranigma, which is a 2.5D, I guess you'd say, RPG. In the same vein of Link to the Past and Chrono Trigger, sort of mixed, but it wasn't released in America. It was only released in sort of Asian and European countries, and I may be wrong on that, but I am right in saying that it wasn't released in America. Unless you get a ROM hack of it. It's about evolution and the history of the world and things of that nature. I won't spoil it because, again, it's a very untapped game for most American players. I'd like to see it remade, if for no other reason than to just reintroduce it. Maybe a 3DS remake, or just to give it a little spit polish, like they did with Final Fantasy IV, the after years and things like that, where it's still the sprites and whatnot.
Right. Yeah.
But it's a good game. It's got great music. It's got great gameplay. As a matter of fact, if you like Link to the Past, you would probably not find too many things to hate about this game. So it's great. Terra Enigma, that's the name of it, and I encourage people to at least seek it out. In the event that we don't get a remake.
All right. My next one. Now they've kind of done some stuff like this recently, at least in the last few years. Not with this particular game, but with this franchise and games similar to it. But I would like to see a well done, fully finished and polished remake of the NES version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
Yeah?
The arcade edition.
Not a half-assed Xbox re-release that was very neutered and...
Yeah. In fairness to the Turtles in Time remake, they were basing it off the arcade, which was different than the Super Nintendo version.
It was.
But I specifically point out the NES version because it had extra stages.
Yeah.
And
Well, no. It had normal stages. The Xbox version had less stages. Not that it had extra.
Well, no,
it had the right amount.
You're going back to Turtles in Time, though. I'm talking about the NES version versus the arcade version. The NES version of Turtles.
Yes,
Turtles 2.
You're absolutely right. Yes,
it had the snow level.
Yes, it did.
And the boot.
Damn it! How did I forget that? My dad bought that for me. It was one of the only games he ever bought me. I normally had to.
It had that other level.
Get my mom.
Asian. I don't even know what it was. It was like inside this big long house or something.
Yeah.
And you fought some weird robot at the end. Those robot tigers. Oh, they took forever to kill.
Yes. Oh my god, dude! I forgot about that. That's great. Awesome.
But that would be something I would love to see.
Okay, great. My last one.
Last one. Down to the wire.
This is.
You kicked it again.
I did. I totally did. It's the Romulans, but okay. I did it on purpose. I actually put my foot on here, but okay. I do this in the face of all of the other games that have come out based on this character. I would love to see, instead of the meticulous, sneaking, spying, detective stuff, the original NES Batman game, redone as a 2D, beat 'em up, side-scrolling platforming amazingness with the same difficulty, just new graphics. That's an amazing game. It's got really good music. It is the Tim Burton world, which means that it's probably closer to the Batman comics in terms of style, maybe not in terms of story or other content, but...
so no stealth like in the Arkham games?
I like the Arkham games. I think they're amazing, and I love the stealth aspect of them. But there was something about playing that game as a kid, knowing that you're Batman, you have all these weapons at your disposal, and you're just beating ass from the start. Like, he's not scared to be like, yeah, I'm here. I'm not hiding in the shadows. You're the one who needs to be hiding.
Now, I think I know the answer to this without even having to ask you, but if you could, would there be voiceovers, and who would you have do the voiceovers?
If there were voiceovers...
No. Yeah, would you want them? This is your remake. Would you want voiceovers?
Would I surprise you by saying no?
Actually, that would. Yeah, that would.
I would like to see no voiceovers if it was going to be that kind of a remake where it's just sort of like you see a character in like a splash thing of like sort of text scrolling by. That'd be cool. I think I'd like to see it as like a download. Like, you wouldn't have to go buy it or anything like that, like an Xbox Live or PS.
Like the DuckTales one.
Pretty much. It is an underappreciated game.
I've never played it. I never saw it for sale or rent anywhere.
Yeah, I rented it one time, as a matter of fact, and I don't know how the hell I got it because the place I rented it
it's considered one of the best Batman games.
It is.
It's kind of hard though too.
It's really very hard. It's one of those it's NES hard, but it's not unfair. Sort of like I'll put it to you this way: it's easier than the Ninja Gaiden games. It is more difficult than the Mario games. How about that? You know, it's you have to be up close and personal because most of Batman's stuff that he uses has a limited range, except for maybe like the bat gun. Batarangs sort of just come out a little bit and come back to him. But most of it is punching and sort of like grappling off walls. It's great. It's a great game. I'd just like to see it reskinned, in a more modern light. And it would be a good kind of nostalgic, re-release of a game. That's it. That's my top 5.
All right, my number 1 game if I had to pick any game to be remade, would be Sonic Spinball. No, I'm kidding with you. It's not Sonic Spinball.
Well, I was sitting here thinking about how that would work, but
no, it's in all seriousness, Little Nemo the Dream Master.
That is a great game.
That's
a really good game.
That's probably my favorite game from the NES. It was just...
It is very dreamlike, isn't it?
It is.
Riding the toads and stuff, and it's
Well, you got Inside the Toad, which that's a whole...
You did, yes.
That's a whole different, mind fuck to you.
No, that's a good game. That's a really good game, as a matter of fact.
A remake of that, where you run around and you feed animals candy, and then, when you're Nemo, you're helpless.
Yeah.
And, you have to find some animals like the frog or the gorilla or whatever new animals.
I'm imagining it right now, and I'm liking it. I think that'd be a really
you go on the gorilla, and he's he's the strong one.
Yes.
Maybe there's a cheetah, and he's the fast one. Not as strong, but he's...
Yeah.
That would be, I think that would be really rad.
Awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
Damn, that would be good.
That would be really cool.
Good lord. Okay, all right, here.
Make it happen.
That's one of the few games that we mentioned that I could see redone in multiple styles. I could see it redone in 2D. I could see it redone in top-down. I could see it redone in over-the-shoulder 3D.
What if it was animated kind of Okami style?
Oh, like a
painting,
cel-shaded painting kind of thing. That would probably be even better.
I think that would be really, really cool.
Yeah, that'd be really good. I mean, I wouldn't mind a Wind Waker style remake of it, where it was heavy cel shading, but
I'm talking about go along with the dream aspect of it.
That's another thing too. Is what I'm saying. It's just the whole game takes place in dreams. So the Okami thing would be really cool. I'd like that. Sort of a splattered paint. In place of shadows, a lot of smudging, and that'd be cool. Hell yeah, cool. I'm with his. So remake those.
You'll allow it.
I'll allow it, man. I'll allow all 5 of those.
I'll allow it. So, I guess that's it for this video. What he's trying to say is, I don't know what he's trying to say.
But no, seriously, I'll allow it. I think your 5 are great.
I think I wouldn't remake Chrono Trigger.
It was a coin toss for me because I actually thought this is confession time. I was gonna be like, I'll remake Final Fantasy VI, and then I said, no, that'd be blasphemy. Holy shit!
That's what I was thinking. That was the first game that popped in my head, Final Fantasy VI, but no.
No, you don't remake that game. You go play that game.
You know why I don't want that remade? Because it's owned by Square, and Square hasn't made a good game since Final Fantasy X.
Well, and Square doesn't exist anymore.
Square Enix, whatever.
Yeah, I know, but still, it's also Final Fantasy VI. And it's amazing as it is, and you go to it. It doesn't come to you. That games used to be like that, where you just used to have to go explore them and understand them, and I thought the same about Chrono Trigger. But since time travel is kind of popular nowadays with Doctor Who and so on and so forth, it would be...
That would be a neat little Easter egg in the game.
It would be. Yeah, just you as you were traveling through time, you just hit the TARDIS and fly by.
Maybe the cutscene just flies by.
Sure, yeah, and it's it's at a higher frame rate or something like that, so it's just sort of you just see it barely, but yeah, I figured Chrono Trigger would be the best out of the 2 of those to remake because it already did step up the game graphically